nice crowd. Hot outside, nice school in here. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate it. I invite you to stand for our prayer and our pledge of allegiance. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for your many blessings and for your Son who died for our sins. We thank you for the freedom that you've given us that enables us to come together to share our differences and our similarities. We ask that your words guide us tonight. We ask that your wisdom teaches us, your eyes watch over us, and that all knowledge come from virtue, self-control, and mutual respect. We ask all of these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. As is customary, our Vice President gets to take over from here to introduce to you our guest that we have invited, and they've been gracious enough to come. So, listen. These are our candidates for the open position. I now turn them over to our Vice President, Mr. Erwin Grant.
Thank you very much for y'all coming out this evening. Briefly, before we get started, I did want to make an announcement. It's somewhat sad. One of our long-term members, one of our previous vice presidents, Michael Lee, passed away recently, and his funeral services, if anybody has an interest in going, is going to be this Saturday. Yeah, this Saturday morning at the M.J. Edwards Funeral Home on Stage Road, and the services are scheduled to start. The services are scheduled to start at 12:30 p.m. With visitation starting 10 o'clock that morning prior to the service. So, should anybody want to go, this will be the services for Michael Lee. It's going to be at the M.J. Edwards Funeral Home on Stage Road. But at this time, we want to welcome everybody here that's come out for this fine event. As everybody knows, I'm new at emceeing an event such as this, so hopefully I will do a tolerable job for you, for the ladies and gentlemen up here. And I would like to make a mention. We have one lady who has not been able to make it for some reason. We're not sure why, but don't hold that against her or for her. For whatever reason, she's not here. But we do have the opportunity to have Lynn Moss, Paul Schaefer, Philip Spinoza, and Kenneth Whalen here. And as was noted, these are all candidates for the open position for the at-large position for the Memphis City Council. And what the rules are is that we've got two questions which have both been submitted to the candidates already, which when we get started in just a second, I'll go ahead and read it to them again. But they will have a chance to have a 1-minute introduction for themselves, and then after they do that, then each will have up to 2 minutes to answer each one of these questions, which will give each candidate a total of 4 minutes worth of questioning and answer time, and with an additional minute for introduction time. So as of now, this is the only microphone we have, so I'm just going to pass it around. We're going to kind of get this on the honor system, as y'all will be in the time limits. So I will turn this over to, we're doing this in alphabetical order, so I will turn this over to Ms. Lynn Moss now to let us hear who she is.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to thank you for having me here tonight. My name is Lynn Moss, and I'm running for City Council. A little bit about me: I live in Cordova. A few months ago, I realized that I spent the last 35 years preparing to run for office and serve on the City Council. You see, I've never held public office, so I'm not a politician in the traditional sense. I don't have big money donors or corporate sponsors, but I do have 18 years of management experience in the medical field and 13 years of management experience in the construction data processing field also. And I also run a successful small business that I owned myself. I've been active in my community for a long time, working with many diverse groups, among them Shelby County Election Commission, the Tennessee Firearms Association, the Mid-South Coliseum Coalition, among other groups. And along the way, I also managed to raise 2 fine young men as sons. It's not unusual to see me at city council meetings or county commission meetings, or even in Nashville meeting with state legislators about issues that affect the people of Memphis and this area. I'm a firm believer in making the voices of the people heard. It is truly my passion. So while I may not be a politician, I am ready to serve and put Memphis on the right track. Thank you.
Now we'll hear from Mr. Paul Schaefer.
Good evening, everyone. Like I said, my name is Paul Schaefer. I've been married to my wife, Madeline, for over 43 years. We've raised 3 children in Memphis, all through the public schools, and they've all stayed in Memphis and blessed us with 5 grandchildren. I've been active in the community in many different ways. I'm active in the Boy Scouts of America with my son as he went through that, and then continued on for 10 years after he finished then. Helped with teaching Little League, coaching Little League teams in the community. Real active with United Way. Also serve on a Tennessee State Board, which is the Advisory Council of Workers' Compensation that has advised the legislature on issues that have to do with workers' compensation. By trade, I'm a union electrician. Went through an apprenticeship program, started as an electrician in 1976. Became active in the local union and politics. On union politics, I've been serving as the business manager for the past 13 years of the Electricians Union. I've been real active in city politics over the years, a lot lobbying for different community issues with the city council and county commission and the state legislature. And I just saw this as an opportunity to serve the community and give back to the community that's given me a lot over the years. Thank you.
Next is Mr. Philip Spinoza.
All right, Philip Spinoza. Real quick, we're doing the intro for 1 minute and answering the questions right now. We're just doing the intro. Okay, well, Philip Spinoza, nice to meet everybody. Thank you all for coming out. I've already met a bunch of you, and I've been waiting to say this to the council. So thank you, Raleigh Community Council, for putting this together. Good turnout. But I have been waiting to say this since I got the invite, and I can say it. I love Raleigh. And I love Raleigh because I was born here. I lived here. My family moved from Raleigh just 4 or 5 years ago. My parents did. But I'm the youngest of 3 kids. I've got 2 older sisters. I'll celebrate my 11th wedding anniversary later this month. I've got a 6-year-old son, and we're actually expecting our 2nd son next Wednesday. So forgive me as I check my phone throughout the night. I've got the ringer on, so if it goes off, then there's some issues. Actually, there's a blessing. But the best time of my life has been with my family when I was a kid and growing up in this community, in this neighborhood, and in the church that I grew up in. So I think it's kind of fitting that for the first time for me to come to something that's here in Raleigh. But that's it for me personally. I guess, well, now also I do sales. I'm a sales manager at FedEx. I've been there for 12 years. And I'm just really excited about the opportunity to be your representative. And thanks again.
Next is Mr. Kenneth Whalen.
Thank you, Raleigh Council, Community Council, for the opportunity, the invitation to come. I am Kenneth Twig Whalen, Jr. I am Memphis born, Memphis bred, and when I die, I'll be Memphis dead. I am pastor of the New Olivet Baptist Church. I've been pastor for 16 years there. I pastored in Crittenden County, Arkansas for 10 years before that. I am married to the beautiful Sheila Lee. We've been married for 33 years. Marriage is my brand. I said marriage is my brand. Marriage is my brand. And children are my passion. I have 3 grown sons, one of whom is here tonight. Cortland is here. Kenneth and Cameron, they are all professional musicians. They all matriculated public schools. They all graduated Overton High School. And they are all fine young men. It is my pleasure to have served Memphis for 30 years. Since I graduated law school, I've tried to make a difference. Politics can be a dirty game. I said politics can be a dirty game. And once more for the Holy Ghost, politics can be a dirty game. But politics is the best way to help the greatest amount of people in the shortest amount of time. And so I do it because I think it's worth it. Thank you.
At this time, Ms. Gatewood has just arrived. She is, you are familiar with our rules with the 1 minute introduction and 2 minute questions and answers. We're just doing the introductions, so I'll turn it over to Ms. Gatewood.
Good evening.
Evening.
So sorry for my tardiness. I am actually the lead registrar at my school, and registration is all totally online this year. And so I was trying to clean up our data. So my name is Stephanie Gatewood. Hello to everyone. I will stand, excuse me. I am a Raleigh, so my father was in the military, and when I graduated from high school, this is where we came. I have 2 children, a 23-year-old son who's a graduate of Raleigh, Egypt, and a 17-year-old daughter who's a graduate of East. I'm familiar with Raleigh. In fact, I used to serve right here in this community. I was on the school board for 8 years. I served my community that way and also through my local church. Some of you all are familiar, others are new faces to me, and I just want to thank you for the opportunity to come before you. I look forward to serving you once again, this time as your councilwoman for Super District 9. Thank you very much.
Well, as you can see, we've got 5 outstanding looking candidates here for this open position. Now we're going to do this with the question and the answer stage, and each one of y'all will have up to 2 minutes to answer these. It's my understanding that y'all have all been supplied with these questions in advance. So, but if not, just wing it the best way you can.
Can I ask you a question?
So, sure.
Can we answer both, just take 4 minutes at a time?
Yes.
Yes.
We had voted that you could do that, yeah.
Thank you.
4 minutes, yes.
Well, I'm going to answer the questions.
Yeah, they can have 4 minutes. Yeah. We just ask the question just one time and then yeah.
Okay, but please understand, we're talking about a 4 minute total time period. So if someone spends 4 minutes all on one thing, you won't have any time to answer any other questions. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, the first question that we have, and we've given these a lot of thought, but the first question is, what is your vision for Raleigh, and what is your plan to reach that vision? And so, unless you want to take the full amount of time on this, I'll be up to 2 minutes to respond to that.
Or why don't you just ask both questions and then they can have 4 minutes. Ask both questions, please.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, let me just start over again. The first question is, what is your vision for Raleigh, and what is your plan to reach that vision? The second question is, what do you see as the most critical issue to be addressed by the City Council this next year? And so You can do this in 2-minute increments, or if you wish, you can do the full 4 minutes. Okay? But just bear in mind, if you do the full 4 minutes, that's it.
Right. Okay, so the first question is, what is your vision for Raleigh and what do you plan to do to reach that vision? So my vision for Raleigh is absolutely that this be a community of choice. I do believe that people must be part of the process. I also believe that a lot of times people are not part of that process as it relates to making decisions as it relates to government. So what my vision is that all of our communities are safe, and I already know that we have very, very strong neighborhood watches in the area. I would like to see a police precinct in a community, if you will, more so than almost like community precincts versus community policing. There's a major difference there. Also, I would like to see a lot of our houses that are abandoned houses, those need to be revamped or given to our community organizations to be able to take care of. Oftentimes, when you have blight in your communities, that creates additional crime. It's an eyesore, and no community deserves to have that. And so I would say what I would do to help with that vision would be, number one, always being responsive to citizens. That is the one thing that I believe is one of my strongest suits. When I served you before, you were always able to get me. And I do believe that having a responsive representative is extremely important. One time ago, what's the second question?
Okay, the second question, I want to continue, is what do you see as the most critical issue to be addressed by the City Council?
Okay. So the most critical issue to be addressed by the City Council is ensuring that we have fiscal stability. That is one. Can I have two? Can I have two concerns? My second concern is making sure that our city council, or our government as a whole, people need to restore trust back into government. And I do believe that I answered that in the first question by making sure that you're responsive. There's a major issue with the pension and the promise to retiree benefits. That must be addressed, and it must be explained in a way that people can understand it. Because even when I was going in trying to find the information, it was very, very hard, and I had to actually call one of my friends who's in HR to explain it so that I can be able to explain it to our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you again. I'm going to run them both together too, like she did. This afternoon, dozens of police officers walked out of a service for their friend and brother-in-arms, Officer Sean Bolton. Whether you agree with their actions or not, it is clearer now more than ever that the city government has lost the faith of the citizens of Memphis in many ways. My goal in running for office is to restore integrity to our city government. And I want to start by doing so in communities just like this one, that are distinct unto themselves and have voices that need to be heard loud, clear, and often. I want to watch this project such as Raleigh Springs Mall restoration have been sidelined for other projects that don't make much sense when it comes to the dollars and cents in the matter. I will be a loud and clear voice for Raleigh in the City Council when elected. What I want to talk to you about today as the number one issue, though, is crime. Yes. Stephanie is absolutely right on that. While there are many issues facing the community of Raleigh and Memphis, crime is a prime example of the way that our city government has failed our communities and of how by attacking one problem, we can also address others at the same time. In order to address the problem of crime, we have to address one of the major crises facing our city. Our city's inability to balance a budget and provide adequate resources to our citizens. In order to control crime rates, we need to provide our police officers and firefighters with adequate resources and appropriate compensation for their work. By cutting benefits, we're beginning to lose our best police officers because other cities are offering them better jobs with much better benefit packages. Although the number and quality of our police force certainly isn't the only contributor to crime in our communities, it does play a role, and it has to be considered. A larger problem than that concerning our city's government's priorities is providing the services to our citizens. Our city government needs to focus on taking care of communities and not focusing money toward their pet projects of the rich and the well-connected. The research is clear. When crime rates go down, communities are able to thrive. Businesses flock to the other areas, employment rates increase, test stores and healthy communities have been shown to improve, ensuring that future generations of Memphians will be employed. While no one policy can solve all of the community's problems, attacking crime can help our city and help the community of Raleigh. I want to see Raleigh Springs Mall built. I want to celebrate the history of this community and help the city recognize the voices of those who've lived here and made Memphis what it is today. The people of Memphis, for good reason, have begun to feel that some city leaders are not listening to them and are more concerned with helping themselves than with doing what's best for Memphis and its communities. I'm running to be a public servant. And if you remember only one thing tonight when you leave here, I'm not running to help myself or line my pockets. I'm running to be a public servant. Thank you.
If you don't mind, I'll sit. The question, I looked at the question initially of what is my vision for Raleigh, and when I looked at the big picture, is running in a super district, you think that you're representing the entire city. But each of our communities has unique challenges and different needs. And as I've been driving around during this campaign, putting up campaign signs anywhere from Midtown, out east into Cordova, and in through Raleigh, and it's quite obvious to me that some of our communities aren't getting the same attention from the city as others are. There's a lot more blight in different parts of the city. There's a lot more poverty, which bleeds over and causes higher crime rates. And my vision is to see that all of our communities are being treated equal with the decisions that the City Council is making. When we have economic development, it should benefit the entire city, not just one group of our citizens. It should benefit all the communities equally. We need to make sure that we're investing in our communities. And one way we could be doing that is to offering pilots to small companies to develop blighted properties in our different neighborhoods, Raleigh being one of them. By offering those same tax breaks to our small businesses as we do to large corporations, we can put more resources back into our communities. And this all ties together with probably the three main problems facing the city, and that's poverty, blight, and crime. If we could remove the blight, that ties into providing jobs for the community and reducing the crime rate. And that's my vision, is to see that all the communities, Raleigh included, are treated equally on the City Council. As far as what's the biggest challenge facing the city in the next term, and I think it's economic development. We have made some great strides in economic development, but we have a long way to go. And we're attracting some companies that are responsible, that provide decent jobs for our citizens, but we need to be attracting more of those, not ones that provide barely minimum wage jobs and don't live up to the promises they're making to our city. If we have a true way out of poverty for our citizens and opportunities for our youth coming out of school to have a meaningful job, that will address all of the rest of the problems that our city faces. That's not a cure-all for everything, but I think that's a big part of what we need to be doing to move our city forward. And thank you.
So I guess the first question addresses the vision for Raleigh and the plan for that vision. And then the second question is the biggest issue with the City Council. So real quick, just there's two things I think about when I think about the vision for Raleigh, and it's the same vision for the city of Memphis. That's economic development, and that's neighborhoods, and strong neighborhoods, strong homes. and I have to go back economic development. I think about the X lines up there on Austin P. If I had $1 for every time my family ate at that X lines, the economy would be much stronger on, at least in the Spinoza house. But no, in all seriousness, Raleigh, in my mind, is moving in the right direction. From an economic development standpoint, the Nike facility here, and you've got some leaders in the room that have led this. The Nike facility, the Nova Copy facility. Austin P has changed so much. Revitalization of it, quite frankly. The Methodist project, you've got right there, I think it's right at 2,000 jobs that have been created. And I think the least paying job of those 2,000 jobs is a $35,000 annual salary job. So economic development helps the community because it will bring people into the community that can live here and build those neighborhoods up and plant themselves with their families, raise families, and have picnics like we had 4th of July weekend. That's the vision. And I think that those things all happen through collaboration and respecting other people and grassroots efforts. I think everybody agrees on that. So that's the vision for Raleigh and the vision for the city. Again, I had a great childhood here, and I want everybody else to have that, not just in Raleigh, but in the city. But that leads me to the biggest issue that the city council is facing, and I think that's certainly crime. You can't have one without the other. People aren't going to move here and open up shop to create opportunities and jobs for everyone if they don't feel safe. Everybody should feel safe in their homes. Families want that. Everybody wants that, doesn't matter where you live in the city. So we've got to do a better job giving our police officers the tools that they need. And quite frankly, we're asking too much of our police officers. I think we need more police officers. If you look at the ground that we require them to cover, they're just spread too thin. We have a great police force. We've got to find ways to support them. I hope that answers the question. And again, thank you all for having us tonight.
The word vision is defined as a mental picture that you come up with through your imagination, a mental picture of something which does not exist or which does not exist anymore. My vision for Raleigh is to see it the way it was when I was dating my wife. My wife used to be the assistant jewelry manager at Service Merchandise. Yes, indeed. She was the assistant jewelry manager, and I used to come and pick her up for lunch, and we'd go to Western Sizzling. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about, do you? And we would have a wonderful time, and we would spend a lot of time together, and guess what? I don't even remember a security guard at Service Merchandise. I don't even remember seeing armed security outside of our shopping areas. My vision is to see Raleigh as it was then. My vision is to see something like Raleigh Springs Mall. Our leaders let it die, so it can't ever be what it was, but I'd like to see some kind of atmosphere like Raleigh Springs Mall, because Raleigh Springs Mall is where my best friend called me on the telephone. He was working in that tuxedo shop that was right in the main entrance. He called me from the tuxedo shop. I was in law school. He said, "Guess who I see walking in the mall?" This was before I married my wife. I said, "Who?" He said, "I see your girlfriend walking with some other guy." So if it hadn't been for Raleigh Springs Mall, I wouldn't know that my wife, my soon-to-be wife, was tipping on me. And I like to see the kind of atmosphere that breeds friendships where people will let you know when somebody's trying to double-time you. In all seriousness, though, my vision is to see Raleigh a fun place to raise children. My plan to achieve that vision is to work with a majority of the city council. I can't go down there and do everything by myself. That's the problem now. Everybody wants to do their own thing, or they want to do the bidding of corporate people who don't have the interest of the poor people and middle-class people at heart. My plan is to work with the majority of the council and not be sellouts. My plan is to work with the majority of the council and not be afraid to stand up for what is right. My plan is to listen to people like you who have already done the work. You formed a council. You're the ones who should be letting the city council know what you want, what your vision is for Raleigh. You have to have somebody who's not greedy and not corrupt. You need somebody who doesn't need money. You need somebody who's not excited about dating somebody of another race or going out. You know, you need somebody who's faithful to their family and their wife, faithful to their community. And that's what I've proven that I am. Now, what is the most pressing and critical issue for Bartlett? It has two heads. I mean, for Raleigh, it has two heads. It's a twin. It's a twin. It's a poor education and it's a lack of resources. We don't have enough resources to address our problems because corporations are getting our tax base through things called pilots. Help me break that up. We'll do an immediate moratorium on these corporate tax breaks and find out where the money's going. Thank you.
Well, I would like to thank all five of y'all for a wonderful presentation. I think that all of y'all have made our upcoming decision much more difficult because but it certainly is a pleasure to see five sincerely interested people running for this office, because the office does mean a lot, as you all know. And whichever candidate wins, we want you to do the absolute best you can from the bottom of your heart for not just the citizens of Raleigh, but for all the citizens of Memphis and Tennessee for that matter. But I want to thank you all so much for coming out, and this is, I wish that we had more open seats because it's just been delightful. Maybe the next time we have a chance to do this, we can even think of more questions to ask. But this has just been delightful, and we wish you all the very best. And thank you so much for helping us learn more about yourselves. Thank you.
52 people. How many we got?
Thank you.
Yeah. You want to stick around and do just a little bit more business?
Now, we do have just a little bit of our regular Raleigh business. If we want to get in, let me ask Faye real quick. Do we want to do a treasury report or anything, or just call it a night? Okay, I'm going to turn this over to Faye, but just for a very short period of time.
First of all, where is she that asked if we could cut this short? There she is. She asked, can you cut this short so we can go home and watch the debates on television? And I told her if Irwin would let it be cut short. So he's let it be cut short. The minutes for tonight were last month's ice cream supper. So if you weren't there, shame on you, shame on you. You missed a great feast. Zed, can you give a real short budget? Okay. While Zed is looking for it, all of the board members, if you could please stand. Folks, Zed's looking, he's a board member too. I want to thank the board members because the board members are the ones that put this together tonight. It's a lot of hard work. A great timekeeper. No one got to know Aaron was a timekeeper. Aaron was a timekeeper. So I want to thank you, board members, for your help in this forum. It was great. Thank you very much. Zed, you got it yet? Aaron, yes.
just in case somebody doesn't know, there's, if you remember last year, they did the drainage basin survey in this part of Raleigh. Those of us who live in the western part of Raleigh were left out. They are now beginning the survey of the Windermere Basin, which covers kind of like Lakewood Hills, Scenic Hills, and Sky Lake. If you live within that region and you have drainage issues, a very exciting issue, and one that may have become evident last night for some of you, there's a website you can go to, which is RaleighFraserWater.com, or on Thursday, August 20th at, I think, 7 p.m. at Golden Gate Cathedral, they're having a meeting. This is City of Memphis, and they have a consultancy that they're working with. So that will be there. Also, I want to make a quick plug for nextdoor.com. This is a community connection website. It's kind of like Facebook for your neighborhood. And I know some people in here are on that, but give it a look-see if you haven't been on there already. It's a really nifty way to network with people who live in your neighborhood. Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it. Zed, you got something for us? You want me to hold this?
Last month, the balance was 88, 83, 83. Today, we have the balance of 87, 54, 86. That's collected a few dues in there. We've paid Mr. Caldwell for mowing the lot out there. Going to pay the taxes tomorrow. Everything's looking in good shape, though.
Thanks, Zed. Thank you, sir. Okay, since we have had a request to cut it off early, since Irwin is allowing us to cut it off early, thank you so very, very much for coming tonight. Kevin?
What about the new people?
Do we have any new members here tonight? Or new people here tonight?
Yeah, come on now. Stand up.
New people?
First timers? All right, okay, all right, yeah. Yeah.
That was quick. That was quick. That was quick. Thank you for coming, and I hope you come back.
All right.
We're strong. We're a healthy community. We're a healthy Raleigh Community Council. Thank all of you. I hadn't planned on it. Okay, I'm gonna let you stand it from right here.
To those that do not know who I am, I'm Debbie Bond. I'm the Neighborhood Watch Coordinator for Old Allen. And beginning September the 9th, we're going to be beginning the Citizen Police Academy. That's on a Wednesday night. Then after that, we're going to start it on a Monday night. It's for 9 weeks, and we ask for 3 hours of your time each week. And that is so that you can help make this community a little bit better. Because as I heard some of the representatives state that they want to make things better. And if you want to do that, you need to start with the police department.
Thank you. Now, I know this is just August, but remember early voting, September the 18th through October the 3rd, through the weekdays, 10 o'clock to 7 o'clock. On Saturdays, 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock. It gives everybody the opportunity to vote. And remember, if you don't vote, you have no reason to gripe. No reason to gripe. Early voting has not changed. Early voting.
I'm new at this.
If you will go to your shelbyvote.org.
Where do I go for early voting though?
Here.
See, I don't have transportation.
Raleigh United Methodist is early voting here. There are several areas, and they will be in our newsletter. So, you know, and you can go to shelbyvote.org and put in your address. It will tell you where to vote, but it'll also give you the voting places and the addresses of the early voting. Okay. Ma'am, it starts September the 18th
For early voting.
through October the 3rd for early voting. Voting day is October the 8th. If you do not get a chance between September the 18th and October the 3rd for early voting, then your day to vote is October the 8th. Anybody else? Do I hear a motion that the meeting be adjourned? Do I hear a second? Motion's been made and seconded that with the meeting adjourned, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let's go home, folks.
One of
Thank
these
y'all.
days, I'm going to say no.
Talking to you there.
All right, if you need anything, give me a holler.
I will,
okay?
thank you.
All right.
We outvoted, but just for the.
I know,
just for the
but
principle of the thing,
exactly.
you know?
I like to wind up being opposite at least, yeah.
Just for the principle of it.
You did good. You did good. Yeah.
Thank you for
And
having us.
here,
Enjoyed it.
go to our website. It's Raleigh Community Council right there, and you'll see the history and things that we're doing. I mean, we're really and truthfully, I'm the one that usually, some of these people are elderly, well, so they give me a call about trees, potholes, anything that goes on, or individuals that are kind of shady. So then I either turn them into code enforcement, or at least I go by and check out on the stuff, because there are times that